Ready?
What do traveling to exotic places, having your hands involved with everything possible, being able to learn different processes all have in common? These are just a few tasks that an auditor can experience all in a day's work. Auditing is evaluating something, whether it is a business, a process, a person, or even a product. How did I get interested into being an auditor? Well, it all started with the movie of Richard Gere, Pretty Woman with Richard Gere, buying and selling distraught companies. Even though he was not an auditor, he did help save jobs for a lot of families. So today I will discuss with you a little about the background of auditing, a little interview that I had with an auditor, and the future of being an auditor. So let's talk about the background of being an auditing. So according to Kahn, auditing has been used for many years. It has been dated back since 1400 BC. The first written words were used as symbols to keep track of merchandise either collected as taxes or to use as trade. Auditing accompanied the development of accounting. The first recorded auditors were the spies of King Darius of ancient Persia. These auditors could be considered the king's ears. And according to the London Times, it was a very interesting beginning. The word auditor became from the Latin word to hear. Modern auditing began in 1844 when the British Parliament passed the Joint Stock Act. There are various jobs in the auditing field as stated on the Bureau of Labor Statistics. There is an external auditor, and there is also an internal auditor. An auditor can work for industries, small companies, or even large corporations. One of the largest corporations to work for is a company called Deloitte. According to the best top level, it got second position in the globe in the professional service network. Now that we discussed the history of auditing, I will share a few insights from an interview I had with Rick Stroud. Rick Stroud is an elite auditor with aerospace auditing company called 3G Consulting. Rick shared some experience with me over a phone interview on February 15th. I asked Rick what kind of education did I need to become an auditor, and he responded I needed a bachelor's degree. And Rick also works for the aerospace auditing department, so if I wanted to become in that particular field, I would also need aerospace experience. Rick retired from the Air Force after serving 21 years, and he was employed for Lockheed Martin for over 10 years while he was obtaining his bachelor's degree from Wayland Baptist College. After obtaining his bachelor's degree, he got a job with 3G Consulting. Rick also enjoys being an auditor to get to meet new people. He enjoys learning new processes for which things are done. And he sometimes gets to make his own schedule, and he can also work by himself or with a group. A typical workday for Rick Stroud starts at 6 a.m. and he reviews agendas for that particular audit and to see if there's any special requirements for that audit. Rick interviews all the people employed at the company. He analyzes financial records, procedure manuals, and different reports. And he also has to determine if there are any gaps in that system. Then he will write corrective actions. Auditing can be very stressful. He has the ability to shut down a company, and he also has to answer to top-level management. So now that we discussed the background and reviewed some insider information from Rick, let's discuss the future of auditing field has to entail. Employment of accountants and auditors is projected to grow from 13% from 2012 to 2022, about as fast as the average of all occupations. In general, employment growth of accountants and auditors is expected to be closely tied to the health of the overall economy. As the economy grows, these workers will continue to need to be prepared and examine financial records. Auditing and corporate governance continue to be conducted largely under national laws and practices, according to the London National Times. According to the New York Times, the salaries of an auditor range from $50,000 to $80,000. Investors rely on documents at the end of the annual reports, which counts on the auditors to give a clean bill of health and monitor whether any company has problems developing. This is reported by Peter Hennings with the New York Times. So in conclusion, let's recall what we discussed. We discussed the background of accounting. We shared some insight from Rick Stroud, which is an auditor, and we also shared some insight about the future of auditing. I plan to obtain my goal to be an auditor by transferring to A&M to get my bachelor's degree, and also hopefully to get an internship with an auditing company. And I cannot wait to start learning these new processes.
Very good. Very good.